minutes of your time, probably going to be more than a couple of minutes. You know how it is with me. But first things first, let me fix my camera. All right, so I hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you see the board on behind me. But if you can't, that's okay, because we're going to go over everything. If you want one of the fastest credit sweep dispute methods, you better pay attention, because we're going to go over all of these steps and I'm going to explain them. You see, too many people are lying to you. It is not as simple as just writing one letter and sending it out. Do you see how many steps are behind me? There's like, what, 9 different steps, okay? Why are there 9 steps if it's as simple as every single person everywhere, all 68 million consumers who have bad credit, sending out that same letter? It doesn't work like that. You hear me tell you this all the time. And again, I don't care if I gotta be the bad guy. I will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, because I'm not trying to sell you anything. Buy my merch, do this, do that. No, I'm not doing any of that. Only person who benefits is you, so pay attention, listen up, and you probably should grab a pen or something, okay? So why do you want to use a fast process? Well, I mean, that one's pretty simple. We want to remove these things as quickly as possible, legally and permanently, right? I mean, the entire thing is we don't want to just throw a Band-Aid on it. There's no point in doing that. You're going to end up going back over and over and over again, right? So what we want to do is go in and hit it one time, get these things cleaned up. And when I say one time, I'm not talking about one round of disputes. I'm literally referring to going in and not having to do this all the time, a bunch of different tactics and run all over the place. No, it's kind of like, if you think about it in medical terms, we want to go and we want to have one surgery that's going to clean up all the cancer, and that's it. Obviously, we might have to go for some follow-ups with a doctor, but we're not having to go in every 3 months and have another surgery. We don't want to do that. We want to come up with a permanent solution to this temporary problem. And yes, it is temporary. Bad credit doesn't last forever. If you don't add new negative items, they're only going to be on there. Yes, I said only for what, 7.5 years? So, I mean, it's not going to last forever. Maybe right now it seems like it is, but I promise you, there is a faster way than waiting 7 years, okay? So my notes are right here, your notes are right there. So let's get to this. What do you want to do? Step number 1 is always the same. You want to make it as difficult as possible for these people to go and say, oh, well, we don't have to do an investigation. It's verified, it's verified, it's verified. No, we need to go and we need to suppress and opt out. It's not just the 3 credit bureaus that exist. There's other places like SageStream and whatnot that we need to go and handle before we do our disputes, okay? So when I say opt out, what I'm referring to is generally opting out of like those pre-screened offers and stuff like that. Now, once we do that, that is step number 1. Once we do that, we also need to go and attack our personal information. If you are sending out a dispute to the credit bureaus as step number 1, you already lost. You already lost. You've heard me tell you this before. Thanks for that like. Smash that like, okay? Why? Because, hello, free for me to give this information, free for you to take that finger and smash that like, okay? So, anywho, the way that this works is your personal information, your name, your address, yada yada, it's attached to your accounts, right? So there's something called a geographical code, and this geographical code is what attaches these 2 things together. So by removing this personal information, which is not as easy as it sounds, you are going to get rid of that geographical code, and now the credit bureaus actually have to do an investigation. They're not going to. You already know they're not going to, but it makes it so that they cannot just not perform an investigation and say that it is verified as accurate, okay? So you're making their job more difficult, and that is literally the entire premise behind this laundry list method, okay, for credit sweeps. So we're going to go and dispute our personal information. You're going to wait about like 10 days or so, okay? There needs to be a nice little period of waiting between personal information and your round 1 disputes, okay? Now, Just so you know, if you have third-party collections or collections that are outside the statute of limitations, or charge-offs that are outside the statute of limitations, or, you're not worried about them coming after you in court, now we're gonna go before we dispute with the credit bureaus and use the validation of debt process. What the heck is the validation of debt process? Well, it's actually really simple. I've done many videos on it, and we've been talking about this as part of my current series, okay? So if you want to access the entire validation of debt process with the letters and everything that can literally remove charge-offs and collections, then go check out sendme2.co/collections, okay? It's like a whole series of eight letters utilizing FCRA 623A3 and FDCPA 8078. So we are basically lying to them and saying that we want proof that something is ours, that we owe it, blah, blah, blah. But in fact, what we're trying to do is get them to not enter that notice of dispute, right? So same thing with the credit bureaus, but the credit bureaus are about 10 times more likely to enter this notice, and that's why we don't want to do that. We don't want to jump straight to the credit bureau. So now we sent off our validation of debt for those relevant accounts. Wait about 10, 15 days or so, and now you're going to send out round one to the credit bureaus, okay? So if you are going through this and your credit bureau disputes are the first thing that you're doing, again, you're doing it wrong. You're literally adding on unnecessary time just because you didn't take a couple of minutes to get the process right, okay? Maybe you're just landing on my videos for the first time. If so, hey, welcome. I've got 1,200 videos going back 9 years, okay? But if you have been following me for any period of time that I've been here, again, 9 years making these 1,200 some odd videos, then you know better. You know better, okay? So make sure you are not jumping straight to your credit bureau disputes. You need to suppress, you need to do your personal information, and then we need to go and do validation of debt, okay? Now, before we go on to the next one, I want to make sure that you understand something here. This is not easy. This is not easy, but there is a way to do this, and I hope you are taking notes, or at least you're going to transcribe this video and go back through it, all right? I'm not telling you that it's never going to happen, because I remove negative items all the time. Over the past 4 years, I've removed over 50,000 negative items, and I'm literally just one person. I mean, so does this process work? Yes. Is there a lot to it? Yes. Yes, 100% there is. And if you are making complaints at the wrong time to the wrong people about the wrong thing, then you are, again, not going to remove your negatives, okay? So let's go to the next step, which is FTC complaint for fraudulent reporting. So let's pause right there real quick. I said fraudulent. Am I referring to the illegal identity theft method? No, I'm not referring to that. Am I literally referring to fraud, like, hey, you stole my social? No, I'm not. I'm referring to the literal way that they report these things on your credit report. It is fraudulent. Late payments, fraudulent. There shouldn't be any transactional data on your credit report. That is illegal. It is fraudulent. The way that they're reporting these other things on your credit report, it's not correct. It doesn't belong there, okay? It needs to literally be removed, go in the garbage, yada, yada. So now we are making that FTC complaint for fraudulent reporting, okay? So that is the next step. What you're going to do is you're going to, anytime you make a complaint, whether it is by paper or online, you need to either screen dump it, meaning like literally Control P to print it and get a copy of it, get your report number, whatever, because we need to send copies of these reports, these complaints to whomever we're making these complaints against. So if you're making a CFPB complaint against the credit bureaus, you need to have a copy of that complaint, because you're going to send it with your letter, okay? Don't just say, hey, I sent you, I made a complaint against you and blah, blah, blah. No, you need to like furnish a copy of it, okay? They don't really care about these things, right? But it's one thing that we're going to do as part of our paper trail, having a copy of everything. If you have no way to track what you're doing, then again, you're going to lose and you're not going to remove these things from your credit report. You need to make kind of like breadcrumbs, right? You need to have these breadcrumbs so you know where you're at on a website, so you don't get lost walking through the woods, all that. Like Hansel and Gretel, you need to do the same thing with your disputes. Because when you do go to the CFPB, you need to prove, hey, I pulled this report on this date, and on this date, this was supposed to be here. It wasn't on here. I sent this letter to the credit bureaus on this date. Here's my proof. Here's the proof that they responded on this date. And yet, over here, it shows that they didn't put the notice of dispute. Over here, it shows that they didn't correct this. Over here, it shows that they didn't do the date last reported. And because they didn't do the date last reported, they didn't update it. Proves that, they didn't investigate, so on and so forth, right? I know I speak quickly, but I'm just trying to prove a point here. You need to have proof of every single thing that you are doing, because otherwise it's not going to work. It's literally going to be nothing other than hearsay. And our entire premise here is that the bureaus aren't proving anything, and what they're doing is just hearsay, right? We don't want to do the same. We don't want to be hypocrites with this. So track every single thing that you do. If you need to make a dispute tracker, if you need to have a spreadsheet, if you need to do it by paper, I don't care. Just so you know, I also have a dispute tracker that you can go and check out. I will put a link after I'm done down in the description for you, all right? So after the FTC complaints, we are on CFPB for violations. Hey, you like how that kind of flowed from one thing to another? So when we go to the CFPB, we want to prove that we wrote the bureaus, we notified them of something, right? Whatever it is, whatever that inaccuracy or violation was, and that they did nothing to correct it or remove it, right? Or they didn't even respond. Or they're saying, hey, you're working with a third party, blah, 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 okay? So we're going to go and we're going to make that complaint online. Again, screen dump it, save it, print it, whatever. And you're going to take a copy of that, and you are going to also send it with your next dispute to the credit bureaus, okay? So this is not a one and done process. That does not exist. Or it does exist, but not for people like us, because we can't pay $30,000 to hire someone that can actually get that done in the time frame that we're looking for. Because, realistically, that's what it's going to cost you, okay? So with the CFPB complaints, you need to have, like I said, going back a little bit, you need to have a copy of the credit report. You need to have a copy of the next credit report showing that here's the violation or inaccuracy, here's my dispute, and here is where it is proven that it was not fixed. Here is my actual dispute letter that was sent notifying the credit bureaus. Here's my letter that was sent to, collector ABC as well as the credit bureaus. Here is my FTC complaint about the fraudulent reporting. You see how you need all these things to go with the CFPB complaints now that we have a paper trail, okay? So that is the time that you can actually go and prove that there's been all these different violations. Here's my complaints, here's my proof, here's my, blah, blah, blah. That's literally what we need to do. Why is this the fastest way? Well, it's because when we were talking about the squeaky wheel the other day, right? We're hitting every single rung on this wheel, becoming a pain in the butt to the bureaus, the creditors, and the collectors. We're making complaints all over the place. We are mailing them, we are faxing them, and sometimes we're also calling them, okay? So there's a bunch of different steps that you need to go through, and we are coming at them from all different directions. So we are actually going to now make other complaints. So if you want to know what those other complaints are, I kind of mentioned them. It was yesterday or the day before or both days. I can't remember. Anyways, I launched a new product, right? And you can actually access it right here. sendme2.co/tactics to get a ton, like over 66 different advanced credit bureau creditor and collector tactics for credit sweeps that'll remove your negative items and covers all these different negative items that you could possibly have in situations: repossessions, foreclosures, bankruptcy, judgments, tax liens, blah, 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 okay? And it's a playbook, right? So we have collections playbook, we have the tactics playbook, and we have the credit sweep secrets playbook, okay? So we have 3 now. But when we were going over these, I mentioned that there are other complaints that you can make. It's not just the BBB, the AG, the FTC, and the CFPB. No, we have a whole 4 pages of different places that we can go to make these complaints. And even though the credit bureaus might not, give a crap about it, the companies, these data furnishers do, right? And they don't want to, be in the headlines and be publicized and have a lawsuit against them or all that kind of stuff, okay? So we can also make press releases. All of these things are going to work in your favor as long as you have a documented paper trail and you actually have violations and inaccuracies. And that's why it's so important that you know what to look for. Okay, so again, you're just becoming a pain in the butt. All right, next step. I already mentioned that you want to fax and mail your disputes, but now we're on to the laundry list of demands. So now you suppressed, you did your personal information, you sent out your validation of debt disputes, you disputed with the credit bureaus, you made your CFPB, your AG, your BBB complaints, and FTC, I don't know if I said that one already. You now made your other complaints, and now we're going to go and demand their actual proof of investigation, right? Because they're telling you that these things are verified. And even if they're not responding to you, by the continued reporting on your credit report, that is saying that is verified because it was not removed, right? So now we're going to go and we're going to demand all these different things. So the documentation, applications, contracts, proof that there was an investigation, proof that there was some sort of investigation beyond the usage of e-Oscar, right? Just the electronic communication from one computer to another, like, hey, is this what you have? Yeah, this is what I have. All right, it's verified as accurate. No. In Cushman versus TransUnion from 1997, congressional opinion, and you might want to go look this up, was that the credit bureaus, when you come back, when they say it's verified and you say, hey, no, it's not, the credit bureaus are actually required. They have a grave responsibility to ensure the accuracy of your credit report. That's verbatim, okay? So they are required to go beyond the original source of information, meaning the data furnisher, and the use of the electronic processing, and to determine that your accounts are accurate or that you're not lying about it, basically, right? So that is what we're trying to do. Get this proof that there was something other than just the usage of e-Oscar, okay? And there's going to be a ton of stall tactics and scare tactics that they're going to send at you because they just want you to go away, right? Such as saying that you're working with a credit repair company. We don't believe that it's you. You didn't send your identification. We don't understand the nature of your dispute. You already used this dispute reason. Well, if you're using factual disputes, then no, you didn't use it because we're using new and relevant information every single time based off of your credit report, okay? So every single thing that you could possibly ask the credit bureaus as far as, reasonable proof that they did investigation, that is what we are requesting. We are then going to go and again make a complaint to the same freaking places, all right, when they go and say, hey, no, this is verified. It's not very likely that they're going to get to that point where they say that it's verified because you want of these steps, okay? So instead of disputing for 9 months or just, instead of disputing for 6 months or instead of disputing for a year, you are going to drastically decrease the amount of time that you're going to have to wait for these things to come off because you've gone through all of these steps. Yes, it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but would you rather do this stuff to legally and permanently remove negative accounts or whatever from your credit report in a shorter period of time instead of waiting for 7 years? I would have to say so, because that means that all that extra time that you would have instead been spending, just sending out one letter, 30 days, one letter, 30 days, one letter, 30 days, you could be inside that new house. You could be driving that new car. You could be opening your wallet and seeing something green called money, okay? So, don't be lazy with your dispute tactics. Don't be lazy with the processing of your credit repair, okay? You need to learn how to do this the right way, learn how to do it quickly, and go out and get your results, all right? The only person who is going to stop you from getting those results is you. The only person who is going to, keep you from getting that house is, probably the shiny new object syndrome that everyone's got. Like, 14 days, we can get off in 14 days. 30 days, we can get it off in 30 days. No, dude, That's why we have all these steps, because it only takes 30 days. Okay, right. I totally believe that. Show me the money. Don't think so. All right, so That was it. You want to go access those tactics, you still have like 24 hours to save $100, all right? Send me to .co/tactics, all right? There's over 66 different tactics. You can find the videos that go over all the different tactics, the overview and all that stuff on that sales page. Pretty awesome. If you want to remove your negative items, then hey, guess what? You could do it by looking at these tactics. If not, I have 1,200 videos that break this entire thing down so that you can learn to permanently remove these, increase your credit score, and move on with your life. Otherwise, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a link right here, and it just happens to say my740.com. You know what that is? That is a site where you can go to schedule a call directly with me personally to see if I can do this for you, because I don't need a list. I just know what to do based off the information that you have on your credit report, okay? So if you want to see if I can personally do it for you, non-sarcastically, then the link's right there, my740.com. I'll see if I can help, and if I can't, I will point you in the right direction, either to a video, a playlist, a do-it-yourself product or something. But as far as whether this is a simple process, it's not. I wish it was, but if it were, I wouldn't have 1,250 some odd videos that have to explain how to do this the right way, because it would be as easy as just doing it. There wouldn't be tutorials on how to do it, right? So I'm not here to discourage you. I am here to encourage you and motivate you to do this the right way. All right, so that is it. But the 3 links that you may want, again, they're down in the description, but I'm going to give them to you anyways again. So schedule a call with me if you want to see if I can do it for you, my740.com. If you want to access a crap load, 253 pages of dispute tactics, then send me to .co/tactics. If you want to access the how to remove collections playbook, it is same link /collections for the validation of debt and how to remove collections. However, the third playbook, my credit sweep secrets. If you want to access that one, it is /get my cheat sheet. All right. So that is it for tonight. Have a great one. Smash that like, subscribe if you haven't done so, and I will see you maybe tomorrow. I don't know. So just come back tomorrow. All right. I'll see you later.